Welcome to the first edition of the Nahar Jito Bookathon, presented in association with the Raisoni Foundation. In this session, we are going to explore the book Happiness is All We Want. Today, we are leading our lives in mindless pursuit, unable even to articulate what we are pursuing. We are unhappy even after achieving what we desire. Happiness is all we want suggests that the source of peace and happiness is within us if we know the secret. The book's objective is to help us unlock that secret and attain a high level of overall well being in order to lead a happy and fulfilling life and be the healthiest we can be, mentally and physically. A wide variety of tools and techniques are explained in simple language. Many real life experiences of the author as well as other people are interspersed through this book. Demystifying the spiritual aspect of well being, this book integrates it with all your life objectives. You can immensely improve not only the peace and happiness in your life, but your beauty and appearance as well. Our speaker, Ashutosh Mishra, is a senior banker, a life coach, and motivational speaker. An alumnus of XLRI Jamshedpur and IIT Delhi, he is an avid reader, blogger, YouTuber, and well-being enthusiast. Our moderator for today, Dr. Rosina Rana, is a seasoned counselor and a life coach. Currently, she is associated with Raisoni Group of Institutions as Manager, Training and Development. She is also the director of a counseling center set up in Nagpur. After completing her PhD in clinical psychology, she has helped a large number of people, including 30,000 students, 5,000 teachers, and 500 parents. And many working professionals create their own runway to peace and success. In her professional legacy, she holds many awards and accolades to her credit. Some of the most prominent awards include Outstanding HR Trainer and Psychological Counselor by Higher Education Ministry, Government of Telangana, National Builder Award by Rotary Club of Nagpur, and the Women Achievers Award by the Ismailia Helping Society. Now, I would like to hand over the session to the moderator.
Ashutosh, the author of Banker's Game. The title, such an attractive title it is. He talks about the roller coaster ride, and he's going to take us for a roller coaster ride today. He talks about money and emotions. The main character of this story, how the story revolves around him, with three characters majorly who goes through a lot of ups and downs, and here the corporate world, as all the students keep hearing about this and keep thinking about it, how the world is. It is definitely different than the world that we live in, and with all the emotions and a lot of money talks. Here we have Ashutosh Mishra, and I'm sure you're going to enjoy this session. To begin with, talking about the egos and prides and games people play during corporate life. Ashutosh, what made you select this subject, and the topic is so attractive? So tell us something more about it.
Okay, thanks a lot for this great introduction, Aditi and Rosina, and setting the tone for the session. Really pleased to be part of this initiative, and I think it is going to benefit everybody who is going to participate today. So coming to this book, Banker's Game, I'll just like to show you this book first. This is the book, Banker's Game, which Rosina talked about. So as it says, Banker's Game, but actually it is more like all the corporate games which are played across industries, across sectors, because the corporate culture, corporate politics is pretty much, goes on similar lines across industries. It can vary from organization to organization, but certain basic aspects which are the same. So as you saw in my introduction, I've had a long corporate career of about 21 years now. Worked with about 5 large global major banks, Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, ANZ, Indian banks like ICICI. So, working in these banks, what I've noticed is that people, go through their careers or corporate lives, and a lot of people struggle through the issues which they face. There are very few people who are able to make sense out of things, and they do well, and they're able to maneuver everything to their advantage. But a large majority of us, when we are studying, we actually do not prepare ourselves for what is going to hit us when we start working. And that is the thing which I have seen year after year. And myself, when I joined this game, it took me about 5 to 8 years to just get a little bit of hang of it. My father is from administrative services, so I was never exposed to the corporate world while I was in my growing up years. And the management trainees, years after years, they join and they find it very difficult to adjust. And they don't know. They feel they just come to office, they'll do their work, and everything else will be taken care of. So the main objective of this book was to show to the young professionals what they can expect when they enter into the corporate world, how they can maneuver this to their advantage, because corporate politics is a necessary evil. It is just like politics in democracy. When you have a democracy, you can say that China is doing well because they don't have democracy and they are autocratic. India is a democracy. It has got its advantages, but with the advantages come the disadvantages, which is the politics. Same thing applies in a company. There's a lot of politics and interpersonal dynamics. So the thing that motivated me was to help people understand, what kind of dynamics, interpersonal dynamics especially. And even if you're not a corporate person, even if in your family life or in your general life, you can learn a lot. And Rosina, you are a psychologist yourself. You will understand what I'm talking about. That was the main top objective of this. Second objective, which made me write this book, was that I've seen lots of ups and downs. And some market, especially cyclical industry, we are going from one boom to the next bust. And so what I saw was that when we go from in boom times, people do very well and they are very successful. And they really fly on cloud nine. But when the burst hits them, then most of the people do not know how to manage, because everybody can do well when the market is good. But when actually the bad things happen, when the scams takes place, and when the market crash happens, that is a time which actually tests your skill, your patience, your resilience. So that is one thing which I have brought about in this book, wherein we go through the boom times of 2004 to 2008. And then there is a Lehman Brothers crash in US, and which actually hits the Indian financial markets as well, which not many people are aware of. So that was the second idea behind writing this book.
Okay, very well said. It is a necessary evil. It is evil, but it is necessary. So thank you for giving that perspective. And since you spoke about money and the market crash, I will first touch a little bit upon money, and then we'll go more deeper into corporate life. It is said that money is not everything, but you have enough before you say this. Before you talk this nonsense, you have enough of it. So what do you think about money and this volatile world of money business?
Yeah. So money, very well said. Money, people will say money is not everything, and go after your dreams. Don't think about money and everything. So money is definitely very important, and whatever we may say, but at some point in time, every day in our life, we have to think about money. How is our finances? How is our earning? Because it is a necessary evil, whether you like it or not. Money is the lubricator which keeps the modern economy going. You need it for meeting your basic needs, necessities, for meeting your challenges, your family responsibilities, your own desires and dreams. So it is very important. But again, just to put things in perspective, money is again very much, it is like a byproduct of what you do. So if you make money as your direct goal in everything that you do, then you may or may not be that successful.
Yeah. So you talked about happiness also. So happiness is all that we want. So along with money, we want also happiness and success, of course. Yes.
Correct. If you only run after money in a very, very narrow sense, then you may not get the happiness. But at the same time, you develop a career, you develop some skills, you do productive work, that gives you satisfaction, that earns you money as a byproduct, and you are able to add value to society. And also the other part, which I talk about in my first book, Happiness is All We Want, is that when you run after money and your desires and dreams, they're very important. And I always encourage youngsters, to go for it and dream big, dream whatever material things they want, but at the same time, learn to draw a line. There is always an ethical line. To what extent you will go to earn money. As long as it is ethical, it is something meaningful that you're doing, it is all fine. But just to take excuse of money and do anything unethical or do whatever comes, that is not something which is right. At the same time, when you run after your money and your material desires and dreams, do not neglect yourself. A lot of people say, okay, let me throw my health to the window and let me just do this at the age of 45 or 50 when I have all the money and bungalows and flats in the world, then I will care about my health. That is too late. You cannot buy it back at that time. So just keep things in perspective. Money is definitely very important. We cannot, downplay its importance.
So Ashutosh talks about money and also success and happiness and health. So everything is properly blended when he talks. So my next question is, what hits the hardest for students, especially those who are into corporate world, those who are going to enter the corporate world? What hits the hardest
when they join the corporate world?
Yes.
So first thing that is there, when we are students, we have a very idealistic view of the world. We feel that I've done my degree, I've learned my technical skills, I'll go to office, my company will give me certain XYZ job, I'll do my work properly well, and I'll come back home and everything is taken care of. It is not like that. Your work, what you do, the technical value add, what you do at work is only a aspect of what you're doing. It is very important aspect, no doubt. But beyond that, there is a big world of, because all the organizations as of now, till machines take over, they are composed of people, right? So when you go to office, when you go to the corporate world, the biggest thing that hits people or the new joinees is the interpersonal dynamics. In your school, college, in your family, the interpersonal dynamics is very different. To some extent, people are exposed to a competitive dynamics when they are doing an MBA or a professional course. But largely, people are not. They do not think that they will be, hit by this kind of competitive atmosphere where everybody will be competing with each other. Ironically, in a modern organization, we are supposed to work together to achieve the goals. But at the same time, people compete a lot because as you grow more and more senior, the number of positions reduces, and it is a typical corporate pyramid. So at every level, there is a lot of competition to go. And this is what hits people. They do not know how to manage this interpersonal dynamics to their advantage. In my book, Banker's Game, you will see that there's a very difficult boss, which is the main central character of the book, which is Nitin. He has got 3 members in his team. Now it is the same boss with similar difficult personality for all 3 of them, but each of them manages it in a different manner. And that gives you hints about, how you can play to the situation which is there, rather than cribbing and crying and complaining that, my company culture is not good or my boss is not a great person. You have to see how you have to use it to your advantage, because the company or the boss is not going to change for you as one person. They are going to be what they are. It is you who have to modify your way of working and play to the tune, play the game basically. You talk about games people play. It's a very famous psychological book.
Yes.
I have read that book. So it is the games ultimately, and you have to learn the game. The sooner you learn it while you are in campus, expose yourself to such literature. The sooner you learn it, the better it is, and you are better prepared to do well in your job.
So tell us how to prepare. So there are sweet talkers. So they will kind of do a lot of sweet talking and buttering to the bosses. What is how do really people go up the ladder? Is it the sweet talking, or is it the real skill and the talent and hard work?
Right. So in my 20 years, I've seen all kind of problems. For example, I'll just again give you the example of politics. There are all different kind of politicians around you. There are people right from Lalu Prasad Yadav on one extreme to Narendra Modi on the other extreme. And the tactics and the skills that they employ is a complete, plethora of things that they employ. Similarly, in corporate world, everybody has to play to their strength, first of all. For example, if you are technically very strong, if you're a hard worker, that is your core skill. At the same time, you will see that the other person sitting next to you manages to take away the credit, right? Why not by doing much lesser work? So rather than complaining about this situation, what you have to understand is that your hard work and your skill is only one aspect. You also need to learn from the other people. You need to also develop the skills which you are already seeing that other people are benefiting from. So being nice to your bosses, doing a little bit of flattery, just once in a while praising, what this amazing imported tie that you're wearing, nice shoes. So all these things you will find in the book as well, ironically. Not many books talk about these. So these are very small things. You meet the CEO, and before a presentation, you have a small talk. Oh, really like your shoes. The guy feels really good. He's already on your side. So even if
even if you don't like the shoe, or even if you don't like, still you go ahead and do that.
Yes. You need not like everything. And as a married person, right? You have to place.
That's a good advice for all the married people as well.
And to be married also. Right? So
yes.
These are, so what I'm saying is, and on the other hand, you might be a sweet talker, you might be a complete flatterer and good, person at establishing rapport with people. But if your technical skills are not your strength, you need to develop that as well. You cannot just say that my flattery and my sweet talking will take me high as much as possible, because you don't know when it will hit you. So what I'm saying is that all these aspects are important. You identify your core strength, but at the same time, develop the other skills which are required. You cannot say that I am like this and I will stay like this and let the world give me what I deserve. It doesn't happen like that. So in my book, I give you example of one introvert person. Typically, the introverts are the ones who want to just sit in a corner, do their work, go home. They don't want to intermingle with people. And then they say, these people, they all go out for smoke and they do all the office gossip. I don't get to know anything. And these are the people who are getting promoted. So the person actually works on his personality to be a little bit more open, to be a little bit more outgoing, to develop some social skills. So it is very, very important. You just cannot keep on complaining that I'm like this only and I will stay like this.
So in your career, in your experience, Ashutosh, have you come across anybody who does a sweet talking, who is also skillful, who is talented, but still he is not promoted, or he doesn't get his worth?
Okay, so there are a lot of people. As I said, the corporate world is a pyramid, right? So ultimately, if 100 people start at the base, after 20 years, there'll be only 2 or 5 at the top. Right. So, for example, in my career itself, I have seen a lot of us started at the same time, and few of us have just gone way beyond my whatever level I am. But I see a large number of people who have actually fallen on the wayside. They didn't want to continue in the same field, or they felt demotivated, or they could not continue because of certain reason. So it happens all the time. But the thing is that you have to keep yourself motivated. It is one challenge after the other. It is just like life. For example, if you're preparing for your competitive exam, you might feel that you will get a 500 rank in IIT, but you may get a 5,000 rank. But in your eyes, you have done all the hard work. You have put in all the work. So similar thing happens in the corporate world as well. But nothing is end of the world. Luckily, when you're in corporate world, you get paid for doing the work. When you're preparing for IIT, like I was, you pay somebody and you do the slogging also. The good thing about the corporate world is it runs the livelihoods of millions of people, right? So it is very, very important. And it is like one challenge after the other. You may not have done well in one challenge. Try to see what you can change. You want to change your company. You want to change your job profile. You want to change your function. You want to develop your technical skills. All those possibilities are there. And people do all these things while they're working. It need not be that I will leave this job and find a better job. Right? So that is not the strategy. You have to continue to face the challenge. At the same time, you have to evolve as a human being, as a technical expertise person.
So what is more important, hard skills or soft skills?
As you go forward in your career, the soft skills start becoming more and more important. Because I'll give you and this is very logical. Soft skills, if you have at a student level also, it is very, very good. No doubt. But when you start, typically most of the people lack in the soft skills. They have good technical or the bookish knowledge. So what happens is, initially when you join, the company gives you the work which needs more technical work. As you grow senior, you become a team manager, you have to manage people, right? So managing not only your bosses, but managing your team members, managing your peers, all these things require soft skills. The way you will manage your team member or your subordinate is different. The way you will manage or interact with your peers is different. And the way you will interact with your seniors is very different. The way you interact with outside stakeholders, which is your customers, media, that is very different. So ultimately, you will have to start developing soft skills in all these areas. Give it a very careful thought. Just do not be under the illusion that I've done my work, world will come to me, and I'll be taken care of. So it is very important to develop the soft skills. As you go more and more senior, invest more time and effort in your soft
True.
skills development. In fact, my wife is a soft skills trainer, and right now she's doing a seminar in another room for a group of people. So she
Great.
is always after our life to keep working on our soft skills, including your everything, your clothing. So in my book, people when they go for interviews, how they dress up, how they, so one might say, what is this? I should be valued for my technical skills, the kind of suit, tie, or shoes I'm wearing. Why should this impact my performance? But that is the way the world is. You have to understand how the world works, and you have to adjust accordingly.
So it is said, na dikhta hai wo bikta hai.
Exactly.
Simply. So not just your hard skills, but also you need to have a proper presentation of
Correct.
your hard as well as soft skills.
So
Right.
the soft skills, just to add, the soft skills will get you in. They will give you the opportunity, and the hard skills will help you develop or deliver on the opportunity.
Okay, great.
Right?
Yes, well said. What we see nowadays, Ashutosh, is people are shifting their job very often. They don't stick to one company. So what do you think? I mean, did you also experience something like this? And if at all, then what is your advice to stay in one company and just wait for your growth to happen, or you keep on moving from job to job hopping, which is called?
So job hopping has become a culture, no doubt. Earlier days, when our parents' time, people used to join one company, one organization, and work there for 35, 40 years and retire. In my career of 21 years, I have worked in companies from 2 years to 8 years. My current job is about 8 years. I'm there, so I'm pretty stable. Touch wood. Now, it is again a very subjective thing. If you just want to change your job just for the sake of it, for very small issues, for a 10, 20% increment, or you don't like the coffee machine, then it is not good. But if there is something which is really, really wrong about the place, something is really bothering you, it is hampering your functioning as an individual, it is affecting you at a psychological level, then I would say you should go for a change.
So is it only then you have to think of changing a job?
Yeah. So what I have seen in my career is that there are people who tend to stay at one place and fight out the challenges, and that leads to more development as a person and as a professional. Because if you see a slightest challenge and you run away from that, that does not give you a chance to develop. That doesn't make you strong. That doesn't give you resilience. But if you face a small challenge, you face a difficult boss, and you do your best to adjust to that and make your way, that when you come out of that, you're stronger.
So what happens when you feel that you are more smarter, more intelligent than your boss?
That I can tell you, you will always feel that. So take it from me.
Okay.
You will always feel that, and you will always feel that why is this guy getting paid more than me, and why is he doing less work than me? I've been as a boss, I've worked many years. As a subordinate, I've worked many years. So that is always the case. But the idea is that you have to understand that you are in a particular situation or a slot which, by chance or by destiny, you have happened to be there. So just do your best in that and try to move to the next level. Do not worry about what the other person is doing, what he or she is getting. A lot of luck factors which play out for everyone. Some people can get plain lucky.
It is easier. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so you have to recognize that there is something called luck and chance as well in this life. Everything does not work perfectly logically, or the logic may not be apparent. Somebody, when he or she becomes a boss, they would have done something because of which they've got that position. You may not be aware of that.
Maybe not done anything, but there is some politics or some favoritism or some nepotism.
Yes.
Do you think that this exists?
Correct. Then favoritism and nepotism exists. Now Bollywood, everybody is talking about it after the big event that happened in June. But even politics, you look at state after state, the son is considered to be the rightful owner of the throne after the family, after the the father, right? So that is a part of life. That is part of human psyche. That is how it is. When you earn something, you create something, you want to pass it off to your offspring. You do not want to pass on your hard earnings to somebody else. So that is the way it will be. There will be nepotism, favoritism. There's a lot of give and take under the table, behind the scene that is happening. You may not be able to make the logic out of it.
Yes. So it is easier said that let the things happen the way it is happening. You focus on your work, but it is quite upsetting and frustrating sometimes for students that people who are maybe not so qualified, maybe they are not so talented, but still they are going up the ladder. So any suggestion to students on how they can really stick to the place and wait in the wings?
Yeah, so I would say do not wait indefinitely. Give things some time. If you have done some good work, give it some time for it to get noticed. Do your bit, as I said, soft skills. So your self-promotion and self-marketing is a big soft skill, which a lot of people have and they benefit. So I typically advise people on my LinkedIn post, if you see, how to play the corporate politics part, I would say 50% of time you should be spending in your hard work, right? About 30% of time you have to spend in promoting the work that you have done, in letting people know what you have done. And about 20% of your time you have to work in managing the people around you. Right?
So the work consists of 50%.
Yes, it is 50%. Because if you just do 100% of your work and go home, then the rest, and you don't take care of the rest of the things, then nothing will happen.
Oh, that's a very good suggestion, I suppose, and a very clear ratio. Ratio of how much efforts you need to put towards your work, how much in promoting your work or talking about your work, and how much to manage people. So I think that's a very good piece of advice for everyone. Moving forward, what do you think, how to manage with the work-life balance? Because it's a lot of pressure, talk about the time that corporate asks from you. So there are people who go into academics, they become teachers and lecturers.
Mm-hmm.
And there are people who go into corporate. And there are people who want to start a business. They want to become an entrepreneur. So between these three worlds that we talk about, getting into academics where you get a lot of holidays and you have a fixed time, getting into a corporate world, and starting your own business.
Yeah, so very, very good question. So as professional life is concerned, professional people or anybody who is in their working age group, which is roughly, I would say 20 to 50 years of age group, and you are definitely having a lot of pressure in your profession, whether you are doing a startup, whether you are doing a corporate job, or your family business, there is a lot of pressure. So incidentally, this was the topic of my first book, which is, Happiness is All We Want, which basically says that happiness is not about just getting whatever you want. Happiness is all about enjoying what you have, right? So if you have this vision that I will become the CEO one day, or I will have a unicorn startup one day, and that is a time when I will start enjoying my life. That is a time when I will start taking care of myself. That is now how it works. Typically, as you rightly said, Rosina, people are under pressure. Time is limited. There's only 24 hours for everyone. And the corporate world sucks out a big chunk of time from you. Again, if you're feeling bad about your corporate job, think about the startups. These typical legendary startups started by people like, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. They are, sometimes you read they're working 20 hours in a day. So where do they get time? So corporate world is not that bad. It is somewhere in between. If you're doing your family business, again, you do not know when the work starts and when it ends. They work on Sundays also. So whether it is family business, your corporate world, or your startup world, you have to find time for taking care of yourself. And happiness is a function of your ability to enjoy what you have. My favorite example is if I buy a Mercedes at the age of 50, my back does not permit me to drive. I have spondylitis, slip disc, or whatever. Then what is the use of that car?
True.
I'll be sitting in the back seat. I may as well sit in the back seat of a Maruti or a Uber or Ola, right? So the way I do it, I tell people, students as well, is you have to make taking care of yourself a part of the habit. And this is very similar to the way you do savings. The way you to do savings, and I'm from finance, and we talked about money a little bit in the beginning. If you have 1 lakh rupees salary and you say, I will save 10,000 rupees every month, how do you go about saving that? You have to set aside that 10,000 rupees on the day you get the salary. If you say, I will go through the month, I will meet all my expenditures, and then I will save this 10,000, you will never save it. because it will never be enough. By 25th of the month, you would have spent 1 lakh rupees completely.
Maybe more. Maybe
Yes,
more.
on your credit card. So similarly, for health and well-being, you have 24 hours. You say 1 hour I have to give to myself. This 1 hour I will take away before anything else comes in. Right?
True.
Now, so again, just one caveat here that when you join your job, you are a junior, you are a new person. It is difficult to stick to this kind of whims and fancies that come what may. I'm going for my jogging. I'm going to gym. People may not like it at your job. So that time, that is a crucial time of first 3 to 5 years when it becomes a little bit tricky. For example, I'll give you a very interesting story. One of the banks where I was working, the guy in our team, so we had a very difficult boss at that time. So one of my colleagues, he told my boss, I went for cricket practice today at 6 a.m. So the boss gave him a stare, and I knew that something bad has happened now. From next day, that guy started getting so much work that he was in office till 12 or 1 in the night, and he didn't get any chance to go for his cricket practice. So you do things, try to be very clear what you want to tell in office, what you don't want to tell in office. Always try to act busy. That is one of the skills which I can share with you.
Okay.
Always keep making statements. I'm very busy. I'm not getting time. I cannot do anything. If you flaunt your happiness, people may, take it away from you.
Okay. That's again a very good piece of advice. Yes. Look busy. Show that you're busy. That's good. That's good. I think so. Yes. Do we have any questions, Aditi? If you can check, I'm not able to check the chat. Or I'll just look in the chat if we have any questions here. No, I don't think there's any questions. Yeah, no. Guys, if you have any questions, you can just post it here. And how to avoid making enemies? Can we say that there are no real friends in corporate world?
On the whole, in general, you can say that, because as I said just in my previous example, you have to keep your personal, private life as well as the corporate life little separate. Now, with the advent of your WhatsApp and you're working from home and everything, both the things are overlapping. So from time perspective, yes, you might be doing some personal work in office time. You might be doing official work in your personal time. There is bit overlap. But in terms of what you share with everyone, in terms of what information you share, do not be very open on a personal basis at office. Because if you share a lot of your personal details, those things can come back to haunt you later. So try to maintain the decorum. There you will make friends when you are working. You will make enemies as well. It is completely unavoidable. You will have both kinds of people, but do not hate your enemies too much and do not love your friends too much. Because ultimately, whether it is your enemy or your friend at work, you have to work with the same people. I know people who have fought very badly, very bitterly with someone, and next day they have spoken to them as if nothing has happened. So that is also a skill. If you get into a fight or a spat or even a silent, friction, and you make it apparent on your face and you start acting heavy and starts affecting your work, it is not good for you. Leave alone the next person. It is not good for you. You have to have that maturity to say that, okay, I had a fight yesterday. It was a bad day. Move on. It is not forever. Maybe after 3, 4, 5 years, the other person will be in a different direction. You will be somewhere else.
True. So no real friends and no real enemies.
Yes.
Right.
But you do make good friends in corporate world. For example, I'm still friends or in touch with people with whom I worked 20 years back. But that happens at a different time frame, and you're not working in the same organization, so there are no conflicts. There's nothing to compete about, right? So when you leave a company, you still carry relationships with you.
Talk something about the ethic part of it. Is it if you see somebody is cheating, for example, if you see somebody is cheating in the while you are working, and how do we really? You are not able to kind of come to terms with that. So how do you deal with it?
Excellent question. This is really great. So I have talked about ethics in my book, Banker's Game, as well. As I said, when the times are good, when things are happening, people do all kind of things to make money. And when the bust happens, then, as Warren Buffett said, when the tide goes down, then who was swimming naked. So this is exactly the same thing, like Ketan Mehta Scam. The series is there on Amazon right now. You can watch it or whichever channel. So similar things happen when the times are good and things are booming. People do a lot of excesses in terms of their ethics. They push the ethical boundaries. But in my suggestion, when I speak to B school students or university students, I always advise them to draw a line. At least what you do is in your control. Please do not get into any unethical zone for doing whoever asks you. Biggest example I can give you, live example today, this case of Riya Chakravarti and Sushant Singh Rajput. I'm not on anybody's side, but it looks to me that the girl was mostly arranging the drugs for her lover, right? For her boyfriend. And in that case now, but she did arrange, she did do something illegal. It may be for the sake of a relationship or whatever. So today, whatever she might say, she will have to face the consequences. Similarly, when you are in a company, you cannot say that my boss told me to do this or my promoter. You are a grown-up person. Always draw the line. If there is something hardcore, illegal, unethical thing being told to you, please walk away from that. Your job is not worth the ethical sacrifice or ethical compromise. If you do it, remember you will have to pay the consequences. That is one. Number two, if you are not being asked to do anything bad or negative or wrong, but you see it happening on the side, then what are your choices? At that time, it becomes a subjective thing. If you are working in a company, for example, I work in companies which give me a whistleblowing channel, which have a proper, secret hotlines wherein anybody can call anonymously and they can report unethical behavior without any consequences. Then please take that recourse. But if you are working in a general company where these systems and processes are not very strong, try to look out. Try to move out of that place as soon as possible. You may not be comfortable enough or strong enough to take over those people, to take on those people, who are indulging into unethical behavior. So for your own safety, for your own well-being, try to move out of that situation. I will not advise you to go to a police station and, you never know who is in hands and gloves with whom. So as a new person, try to avoid getting into such situation. Do not do anything unethical yourself. If you see other people doing it, take an informed call, keeping your safety and well-being in mind.
Okay, I think we have just 2-3 minutes left, Aditi. Yes. So, just last piece of advice from you, Ashutosh.
Yeah. Last piece of advice for me, read my books and, get back to me with your questions and your issues. And both these books are definitely, I'm not saying this because I'm promoting the book or marketing the book, but I genuinely feel I was a banker. There was no reason for me to, get burn midnight oil to write these books in addition to my job. But I wrote this because I genuinely felt that I can help the youngsters, people especially in the age group of 20 to 30 years of age group, when they can take corrective actions in their life, in their career. And then when they reach my stage in life, then they don't regret anything.
I think wonderful. I think wonderfully explained, wonderfully given the advices, very, very easy to use and very sensible, very lot of wisdom there. So thank you, Ashutosh. It was really a pleasure talking to you on this subject. And I'm sure there are many students and there are many people who are watching this, who are already into corporate world, will definitely benefit with whatever advices that you have given. Over to you, Aditi.